Skipper Kelp, who is a guy I work with UNLV boxing, guy I've known for a very long time, was training Trigg a little bit. And I was like, yeah, that guy looks familiar. And it's like, oh, that's Frank Trigg. And it's like, oh, I hear he's a dick. And then we sat down and talked, and he was like the nicest guy. And I was like, what happened? And I was like, typical athlete. You got a little shtick going, and you're really a nice guy. And I met him. Coming off of retirement, he scheduled 4 fights in 4 months against 4 tough guys. You fight Mayhem Miller. Well, Mayhem Miller's not an easy guy to deal with. I mean, he's a guy who takes a lot of punishment, and he gives some punishment as well. Then he was training for a fight that got canceled. Then he fought Masaki, who was a top 10 middleweight in the world, beat him, and then 5 weeks later, you're fighting another top 10 guy in Robbie Lawler. So you're fighting a guy who's just outside the top 10, and then 2 top 10 guys in 4 months. That's a bit much as far as your training schedule is concerned, and giving your body time to recover. But having said that, going through the process, it was a fight that made him dig deep and reach into his soul and say, okay, I am now a fighter. I don't think he thought of himself much. I think he thought he was a wrestler who happened to fight until that point. He became a fighter that night. He had to go deep. Even though he lost, he became a fighter that night. He had to reach deep and go somewhere he's never gone before. Now he knows that even in the midst of adversity in the fight, I can turn it around and I can win fights like that. So now that makes him a completely different animal and a more dangerous fighter, because he's always had tools. And everybody's known them, but they've known if they can take him off his game, they can keep him off his game. Now, not so easy.
What they told you. Now you're under control, and I can do what they told you.
I think he's remade himself as a fighter, kind of understood what he needed to do, his dedication to the sport, that he needed to learn some more things, that at some point, you know, the game started to progress, and either you get on that bus and progress with the game, or it passes you by. And as an older fighter, that can be very difficult. I'm not going to mention any names of some older fighters who that bus has ran over and just passed them by. We all know who they are. And then obviously guys like Randy Couture, who continued on. I mean, still fighting today and still improving his game. That's a testament to what kind of mental acuity they have, and knowing, okay, I still want to compete at a very high level. I still want to be on top of this, so I have to go to the places where I can do that and learn the things I need to learn. And you know, and he's coming along at that. He can't spell mental acuity, but he does have some. And obviously, if you know him on a personal level, he was going through some personal things at that time too. And I don't care who you are as an athlete. If your personal life is not right, it's going to be hard for your professional career. Some people can compartmentalize. I mean, most can't.
Now you do what they told you.
Of course, you get all the haters that come on these sites and email you and like, hey, why do you still fight? Why do you bother? You're a horrible commentator, this and that. You know, but it's neat to see the expansion of how many new fans are out there that have to come to me for questions. And it's the guys that, you know, like your Trigg fanatics and your Kung Lees and your Tim Lees and those guys that have always been around and are fans of mine forever, that come in and they go, I've got 3 more people to watch you fight. I showed these people you fight on YouTube, and now they're emailing me, asking me questions like, why do you train this, and why do you do that, and why do you do that? And to me, that's exciting, man. It's just, you know, every time you see a fight, every time you go to a fight, every time you have a chance to watch a fight, bring somebody who's never seen it, because these new fans are the ones that have no opinions about any of the fighters. They have no opinions about what's going on. They just want to know the sport, and it's kind of neat to see all the new fans that come on, you know. And then of course the old fans have been around forever, so they know I appreciate them and what they do for me, and you know how much support they give me. And the guys that don't like me, well, you know, who cares? I mean, they're not gonna like me for whatever reason. You know, they'll find a reason no matter what I do not to like me, and that's fine too.
Now you do what they told you.
He needed to be in a situation where he was in a stable environment, and with people, you know, that, you know, we're gonna test him. That they, you know, like, okay, you're Frank Trigg, so what? You're not the king of the gym. You're gonna have to come in here and take your lumps, and you can give some lumps too. It's okay. And your mind plays tricks on you and tell you, oh, I'm not good at this, I need to retire. Well, now if he has a bad day, yeah, he has a bad day. So what? Everybody has him, and he's been able to, like, come back the next hour and still train, or the next more, you know. I want domination. I know it's a situation that he has nothing to gain. He's fighting a guy who's 5-1 in his own backyard, who, you know, nothing for him, nothing to lose. Danny Babcock has nothing to lose. He gets beat down by Trigg. He's supposed to get beat down by Trigg. He wins this fight. He's on the map. And we, you know, Trigg always teases that he's a career maker because he's made, you know, George St. Pierre really took off after he beat Trigg. Carlos Condit's career took off after he beat Trigg, as well as Robbie Lawler. So we don't want to make Danny Babcock's career. And so I want him to go in, focus and intent, and smash the guy. Absolutely dominate. Show him that you don't belong in the same ring or cage with him. Michael Jordan, when he was playing the LA Clippers, he would drop 50 on them like he would drop 50 on the Knicks. That's what greatness does. Greatness takes advantage of those opportunities and say, hey, you don't belong with me, and let's get this over with.
Do what they told ya. You're under control. You're not gonna do what they told ya.
I have no idea who's going to win the Daytona 500. Hey, you know what? I'll go for it. Maybe Kyle Busch. How about that?
It's, for me, NASCAR is like baseball. I really didn't like it till I started getting professional baseball player friends of mine that would sit down with me and explain to me how a guy like a Jeff Weaver can be in the big leagues and throwing an 85-mile-an-hour junk ball right behind a guy like Brad Penny or Dempster who's throwing 93, 94-mile-an-hour fastballs. It's like, I don't understand how that can be. If you're throwing 95 miles an hour fastball and this guy's throwing 85-mile-an-hour junk ball, how does that work? So explain to me. It freezes the batters. Guys don't understand what's going on. Same thing with your drivers in NASCAR, that the way they drive, they're aggressive, they're not aggressive, they sneak up on the inside of you, there's team, there's drafting, there's all this other stuff. The more and more I learn about it, the more scientific it gets on me, the more interested I get into it, because it's all the little things that really count. It's not just a car and I'm flooring it and trying to turn this corner. It's when do I pull off? When do I downshift? When do I not shift? When do I hit my brake? When do I turn, you know, am I going high in the corner? Am I going low in the corner? There's so much other crap going on that I just don't understand, that now all of a sudden I'm becoming interested in it. So really, you asked me 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, what are you kidding me? That's hillbilly roundabout. It makes no sense. Now all of a sudden I'm like, I don't get how nobody can not be a fan, because I don't get how this thing works and what has to happen and how clean all this stuff works. And I mean, it's a whole new game, and that's something that I have to learn. And I'm really interested to go to Daytona 500 because it's something that I've never done, that I now have an interest in, because I'm like that new kid, new kid in church. I know just enough about what's going on, but not enough to stay out of trouble. So I'm sure I'm gonna make a complete fool of myself asking, why I got to wear a fire suit. But I don't care, because I'm interested now, and I want to find out more about it. So for me now, it's exciting.